Good morning, brother. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, you have a restaurant.
Yeah.
I was in the event business for 30 years. I would say the base of my clientele were Russians, Russian speaking,
Yep.
Ukrainians, Kafkazi, all these guys. And I would argue that nobody parties like the Russian speaking world.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And I'm not talking about Slovak Russians. I'm talking about the influences of that whole Soviet Union created this crazy party atmosphere. This is funny. There's the song by Robbie Williams, "Party Like a Russian," and something like that. I want to read the lyrics to you because I thought it was fascinating. And tell me if any of it you think is true. Okay.
Okay.
The lyrics are of the chorus of that song goes, "Party like a Russian, end of discussion, dance like you got a concussion." Okay. Put a doll inside a doll, party like a Russian. Disco seduction, party like a Russian, have it like an oligarch. That's the chorus of the song. I think I'm trying, and I watched the video, and it's true. I was like, this is exactly what I don't think anybody spends more money or does more lavish events, from the food, the plates stacked on top of each other, to the entertainment, where they bring in basically entertainers from every kind of culture, to the fact that even those who speak Russian, they are fairly international when it comes to listening to the music they like to dance to. They don't care if it makes them dance; they'll dance.
Yeah.
Whether it's Indian, Middle Eastern, Arabic, belly dance, they don't care.
It's the beat. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
If there's a
absolutely.
dance beat to it, they'll dance to it.
100%.
You can't say the same to Americans. Of Americans per se,
Because when we were kids, if you remember, we used to not understand most of the songs. We used to listen to American songs. You had
That's true.
Boney M, Modern Talking,
right?
and all those things.
Yeah, but those guys were not
The
American.
music, there was British. Some of them were Americans, but you just danced to it, and then you sometimes we would sing to it too, but then we would use all the wrong words. All that she wants is another baby, and we used to sing it entirely different way. And then you came in, it's like, oh, when you started learning English, you're like, oh, that's not how the song went. But to answer your question, first of all, I think Robbie Williams is definitely a popular singer songwriter.
Right.
I'm
Very.
pretty sure he was invited by some Russian oligarch to do a party for them, and I'm sure he got most of his ideas from when he was there. And Russians do love to party, and I think that has to do with the communism again, because being what communism lasted 70 years, 80 years or something, 70 years, they couldn't show their wealth, they couldn't party, they couldn't do anything. And then once Soviet Union collapsed and all hell breaks loose, now you don't have to worry about showing money, and people, they were held back for so long that finally when it opened up, they're just like, fuck it, let's go wild. And they're spending an incredible amount of money on partying.
Oh yeah.
My
Yeah.
friend just had a 10-year anniversary. I wouldn't call him a friend, my buddy, someone I know. He has a lot of money. He's Russian, super wealthy, Russian Jewish, and him and his wife just had a 10-year anniversary, and they spent just as much money as you would spend on an insane wedding just for their 10-year anniversary, and they had a Philip Kirkorov show up and start singing his and hers favorite song with them on stage. And now everybody in the community are talking, how much money did he pay Philip Kirkorov to come to his fucking party? Philip just came in, did a song, sat down, ate, and left. Probably didn't even eat. But I mean, you're talking 150 grand minimum.
It's nuts.
It's not. I would never pay 100. I mean, here's the thing. Again, I don't have that money, so I could say that. But fuck Philip Kirkorov. I would get somebody else to come
Yeah.
for 150 grand. Like, why would I? It's a shitty.
Well, maybe with the whole situation right now, it's worth it for him. He needs money.
think he's fine. Dude, the guy was always fine. He switches sides and seats really quickly. I like his old songs. Has he written anything new? When's the last time Philippe Kirkorov made a new song? It hasn't been in a while, but dude, he still sings the same songs he sang 30 years ago and gets invited to all these places. And I mean, and there's a lot of people just like my friend who would invite him to do a song and pay him 150, 200 grand to show up for like 10 minutes to sing a song.
What do you think about that? People spend this mad money for an event. For what? It's a show?
It's a show, yeah.
To show that you're better than the guy before?
Yeah. Who had, I bet none of his friends, close friends that attended that party, first of all, even imagined that Philippe Kirkorov is going to show up because they did a surprise.
Right.
That's one. And second, can they top that off? And so right now, I'm talking about it. Obviously, everybody's talking about it in the Russian community who saw the videos on the Facebook, Instagram Reels. Hey, Philippe Kirkorov came to his party and sang a song and held hands with them on the stage. Well,
just so you know, for the viewers, people who don't know who Philippe Kirkorov is, he's the biggest Russian superstar since, I don't know, since 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Okay, this guy's been a superstar forever.
For a long time.
Okay,
he doesn't want to leave.
Yes.
He's milking it for all he can.
Exactly. The interesting thing about a lot of these Russian superstars is that they take a lot of the foreign songs and they make them in Russian.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's taken a few, I think, Italian songs himself and turned it into a Russian song. And then it's funny that you say that because yesterday my wife sent me the song. Помнишь, мальчик хочет тамбов.
Yeah.
It's not a. I didn't know that they stole it.
You didn't know?
No, because I never listened to the original, and they stole it. They didn't even change the words, but it sounds just like it does. I don't know if it's a Spanish song or if it's a Brazilian song. But it's crazy, and he's also they've done that a lot of times. And back then, when you don't have internet, when you steal someone's song, most of the time you don't know. But right now, with the whole internet and everything, people are like, "Hey, this is not the original song," or "This beat was stolen from here." Right. But yeah, he's definitely have done that a lot himself. Right. But nobody cares. Russians love to spend money on the partying, but also they're cheap. There's two sides to that coin. There are Russians who spend tons of money on the party and have an amazing party, and there's those Russians who want to have that amazing party but don't want to spend any money. And like at my restaurant, the best customers are the ones that are like, "Hey, look, I have a budget. Let's have fun." And they have fun themselves. Even if something doesn't go according to the plan, they're just like, fuck it, we're enjoying it. Let's have fun with it. But there are those people who don't have too much money. They're like, okay, I have $3,000 budget, yet they expect you to give them a $50,000 party. And I hate those people owning a Russian restaurant.
Well, they don't know the value of things.
They don't know value of things.
That's the thing.
Well, they're like, okay, if I'm spending $50 per person on this banquet, I should get this, and this, and the table should be full of food. And it's like, dude, spend some more money then. But they don't want to do that. See, again, these are like, there's a guy who did the Philippe Kirkorov stuff, and then there's other ones who saw it, and they're like, I bet you I can do it, spending 1% of that money, and it doesn't work like that.
I mean, you had a celebrity come out to your banquet hall before.
I had celebrities.
What was his name? The Russian guy that came
Avram Russo.
Avram Russo, right? That guy's huge in Russia, right?
Yeah, so he was really big.
What are some of his popular songs?
You should know this. Why are you asking me?
I don't remember.
Потерянный рай, тебя в нем я ищу. He's got a bunch of songs. Once you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, I know that song. You know he's Armenian? He's like half Armenian. He speaks Armenian too because I spoke with him Armenian. Which
is another interesting thing where you have all these Boca and all these guys who are singing in Russian, but they're doing the Gorsky kind of approach to Девушка.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, man.
May he rest in peace.
And it's actually going really well. Russians love it. Like that song, the one that was popular forever now, Kaifujem. Oh
Kaifujem is
my
Arsen
Lord.
Petrosov.
That
Yeah.
song is insane.
I do not let people turn that song out of my restaurant.
I know.
Because I've listened to it
Too many times, bro.
too many times. And then, yeah, that was a hit song.
Bro, that song broke boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, I had Indian weddings wanting to play that song. It's
Yeah.
insane.
It's a catchy. It's very catchy, and the song is great. And you know, the fucked up part is that he didn't have his papers, like he didn't have his green card. So when he made that song blew up everywhere, but he couldn't travel outside U.S. to sing them. So he was complaining to me because he sang at Pushkin. We had him perform at Pushkin before. He was complaining that the song is a #1 hit. Everybody's listening to it, and they're inviting him from Moscow to come sing it on a huge arena, and he can't because he doesn't have any papers. And so he's like, everybody's singing my songs. Other people are getting paid to sing my songs, and I can't even get a penny off of that money. And then when he did go to Russia, it was like 10 years later, and everyone's like, that's okay. Here's the guy who sings the actual song. Like, we don't give a fuck because so much time has passed.
He didn't think about that. You know?
Well,
it's like tax preparation. He didn't prepare for the what will if.
But what do you do? Do you wait on the song until you get your papers, and then because you don't know, a lot of times you don't know what's going to be a hit song, what not. Sometimes it's funny. Like I would write jokes, and I'd put all my money on this joke, thinking it's going to be greatest, and most of the time it comes out the way you want. But sometimes you neglect something. You're like, oh, this is not going to create hype, and next thing you know, it's the thing that creates hype. So a lot of times you don't put
see, I kind of I was thinking about, I kind of missed those days. I missed the whole thing with the Russia Ukraine. Really messed up the whole
partying
energy.
world.
Yeah, the whole energy that was there, because we threw so many events in Toronto and New York, right? It's just
now you can't call it a Russian party anymore. You have to call it European dance party, because before you used to call it a Russian party. Everybody understood it's going to be Russian music. We're all going to come, and everybody came. Ukrainian, Russians, Jews, doesn't matter, Armenians.
Yeah.
And now when the war happened, since when the war happened, we didn't do any parties for like a year and a half because nobody wants to party. So right away, no partying, because obviously there's a war going on and people don't have that. That's why we lost a lot of money at Pushkin, because nobody wanted to party.
And the relationship outside too.
And first of all, second of all, everybody's talking politics. And like, even if you have a party, you can have a fight, break on. And then on top of that, you don't call those parties Russian parties anymore.
No, you're right.
It had to change. So now everyone's like European party, dance party,
Euro.
discoteca. Like you say anything except the Russian party, because before the word for that was the Russian party.
I was explaining to one of my buddies who's in the music business, actually Sergio Gutierrez. He's like, what can you tell me about the Russian events business? I'm like, I'll tell you. Like I said, nobody parties like the Russians. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, first of all, where can you go, you as an American, where can you go to a restaurant or a shack or whatever you want to call that, where they have like a kabachok, like a place, or like a banquet hall, Russian style banquet hall, where you can have food. You sit down for sit-down dinner. You pay whatever, $80, $100, $150, whatever. You sit down and everything is catered to you. Food as much as you can imagine. It's packed on the tables.
Unlimited
entertainment,
drinks.
right? Full entertainment. I mean, shows, belly dancers, fire shows, whatever you can think of.
And they'll bring you an ashtray so you can smoke.
Yes,
you don't even have
all
to
you
go
can
outside.
drink, all you can eat, all you can party for $100.
Yeah.
What? He goes to me, is that real? I'm like, it's real, man.
Yeah.
It's not as big in San Diego, because San Diego is a little small town, but every other major city in the world, that's what they have. Toronto, New York, LA, they all have it.
And there's so many songs that they've dedicated to that. Вся моя жизнь пошла по ресторанам, до утра гуляем.
Exactly.
Dude, they make songs about them partying
Yes.
until the morning.
I think it's, I love that. I think in more cultures should have it. Maybe it's not, I don't know what it is. Why can other cultures don't really adapt it?
Well, they have their own things. Like the Asians, Vietnamese, they do the same thing, but they do it with karaoke.
Right.
Maybe you just haven't seen it, or maybe you just
It's
don't
not-
like those
no,
type
no.
of parties because
It's not at that caliber, bro.
It's not that caliber. Of
No,
course
no.
not.
We're talking about Russians. This is like you come to a Russian party like that, they look like they're going to a wedding.
I know.
This
I
is
love
like
bringing
high end.
American
People
friends.
look great, sexy, chic, boom, bam, spending money. DJ, $100, played my favorite song. It's like that.
Yeah, it's
Shit is awesome.
showing off. Yeah, of course.
Right? It's
Absolutely.
awesome. Bratva, давай выпьем, boom, boom. It's happening. It's action based, right? It's caliber. You're not coming there to sing karaoke.
No.
You know, this is like a party. Like,
I can tell you miss it.
oh man, I love it.
No, dude, I grew up in San Francisco, and since we were 15, 14 years old, we used to go to Russian restaurants because they never ID'd us. They never checked your IDs.
Right.
So we were drinking and partying with adults since the age of 15, 14. First of all, your parents take you there for their birthday or whatever.
Right.
And then you're like, okay, you meet the security guard, this, that. Next thing you know, it's your birthday. You're like, well, I'm going to have it in the same place. And you invite everybody. Everybody knows you have to bring $100.
So that's another thing people don't know, right? In the Russian culture,
You bring money.
yes, we don't
Fuck
do
your gift.
toasters.
Yeah. Fuck your gifts. We don't. Nobody wants your
Exactly.
shitty fucking gift.
Right.
Bring the money.
Yes.
Let me help pay for this fucking party.
Yes,
and
it's a
usually, you tell people it's gonna be $100 per person, and it's like $80 per person. But then they have tips and tax. So you're like, okay, I don't want to. And then you still have those cheap ass friends that'll bring you $50 and think it's okay.
Right. Do you think that culture is done?
It's dying because
Is it dying or is it dead? Do you think it'll come back?
no, I don't think it's gonna come back.
It's not, huh?
Because here's the thing: when there was a huge influx of Russian-speaking immigrants, they needed a place where to go. They wouldn't go to American restaurant. It's not fun. They love the partying, so they go to the Russian restaurant. They party, and that was happening for what 20, 25 years now. Those people have their kids here, and their kids may want to do that, but not for long. Like the new generation, they don't care about that. Old generation, yeah. Back then in San Francisco, we had 5 Russian restaurants, and they were busy every weekend. Now you have 1 or 2, and they're not doing that well. In New York, Miami, LA, maybe a little bit more, but your average town or middle-sized town, they don't need that anymore because new generation, they're like, okay, we can go have dinner at some fancy American place, Italian place, or we could just do a vacation trip, or we can rent a venue.
You're not going to get that, though. You're not going to get a night full of entertainment, food, a show. You're not going to get that from going to an Italian restaurant.
No, you're not. But then, I mean, you can, and even the clubs is not that entertainment. But people don't have that need anymore. So see, it's the immigrants who needed that. Their kids don't need that, and then all the new immigrants that just get here, they just came from Russia. They don't really care about going to a Russian restaurant to listen to Shufutinsky's songs or whatever, because it's
But it's not. It doesn't have
school.
to be. It doesn't have to be, right? Like, I mean,
Nowadays, if they do a Russian party or discoteca, they do it at like bars and clubs. They don't even do it like inside the restaurants like that anymore. It is the dying breed.
I miss those.
I miss those too
I
because
thought those was great. Those were like the.
well, you were on the other side. You were making money doing.
It's
DJing.
it's not just the money for me. It's not about the money. I just
Maybe you missed the time because you were also younger and single, and you were having fun. So
no. I ran it. Listen, I ran.
maybe
clubs.
you missed that. Maybe you missed that great life.
Let me tell you.
The young age.
Let me tell you. We threw parties for clubs for young people. They're not the Russian banquet hall kind of style. Yeah. But then there was also the Russian banquet halls. They were very different. Okay? And they have different things. I'm just saying that specific thing, I think, is just a great novelty. I think it's just, I don't know. There's
Dude,
something to it.
I've seen a lot. I loved it. We almost every weekend we were at the Russian restaurant. Sometimes twice a week. Sometimes it was because you have a lot of friends. Someone's birthday is on Friday, someone's birthday is on Saturday, and sometimes it would happen that twice a week you're at a Russian restaurant, partying, dancing, and having
Here's what I
fun.
think it is. I think it's not feasible today because you're gonna have to, as an owner, you're gonna have to pay for entertainment, for this, for that. You can't afford it. People don't pay you that kind of price. So money used to go much further back then. Today, it's hard to do that.
Well, Miami, they do it and they do it well, and they charge a lot more. Like every time, I remember, like when I opened my restaurant here, we used to do in San Francisco. You have $100 to $150 per person. You get drinks, you get everything, right? I came here to San Diego, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give them a better price so they don't trip out. I'm like, I'm gonna do it for $75 per person. And all the locals were like, "Oh my God, 75! It's a robbery. Should be $45, $50 because that's what they're used to in San Diego." I'm like, "Dude, for $50, I'm not gonna." And alcohol included. You crazy? Like 75 is a cheap price. And we used to we had a pushback from people about $75, and then while in Miami they charge 300. Or even New Year's, like you do a New Year's party here, you tell them, okay, it's $150, $200.
But don't you think that depends on what you're providing?
Yeah, but some people only care about the price. They don't care about what you're providing. They're not like. That's one of the reasons why I hate dealing with the Russians in some ways, because the cheap ones are gonna fuck with your head so much, and they're gonna try to get everything. Oh, what about this? What about this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And you're like, lady, you're going way over. And it's always the ladies too. Yes. You're like, you're going way over your Soviet fucking budget with me. And because they want everything for no money. The ones that do spend, I mean, they're gonna have a great time. But it's sad because those cheap people that they will never be happy no matter what. Like even if you do it for the price and you give them everything, they will still find something to be unhappy about, because they don't care about having fun at their party. They're just walking around and looking at what they can find wrong.
Yes.
And I hate those type of people.
I get it.
I had a lady once who she calls me at like 8 a.m. I was sleeping day before the event, and she's like, "Oh my God, are you still sleeping, Ike? My party is tomorrow night. Why aren't you fucking at the restaurant slaving, getting?" And I thought I overslept or something, and I'm like, "Is it like 8 p.m.? Did I just like slept for 24 hours and not like?"
She called you to tell you how to run your business?
Day before at like 8 a.m. in the morning. Like,
holy moly.
So there's the good things, and then there's, of course, the bad things. But when they spend money and they're happy, yeah, great. But
it's interesting because Russians speak to Russians differently than they speak to, let's say, Americans.
Yeah, and they love, and whenever, here's the funny thing, you can tell by when that Russian person moved to U.S. by the music that he listens to, what year. Because there's certain immigrants that came here a long time ago, and they listened to those same songs that were popular back then in Russia or wherever the hell they came from, and that's what they listen to. Because we throw Russian parties a lot, and there's new music that came out of Russia, and you try to play that, and they keep coming up to the DJ, no, put ruki vверх, put this, put that, and you're like, dude, these songs are like 30 fucking years old. There's new songs that came out. No, we want to listen to those old songs. Yeah. It's crazy how there's so much new stuff that's coming out that's amazing, and they don't want to listen to that. They just want to listen to what they listened to when they were 16 years old. So
that makes sense.
Because they want to, yeah, they want to listen to stuff. It reminds them of the young age what they were listening to. Certain songs sometimes stick with certain memories and situations.
Of course, yes.
Or vacations or whatever. And every time you hear that song afterwards, you're like, you're New York, 1989 or something, or 1995. Russians do party like crazy, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
then
don't know.
so much
I
vodka
miss
is
those
being
days.
drank. Like I miss those days too. But like, see, you're the DJ. You're doing these events. You don't get shit faced like they do during those
Not like that.
events.
No, they.
And so that takes a toll also because like everyone comes out drunk as hell. Half of them are gonna drive. It's true. There were no Ubers back then, especially, so there would be a lot of drinking and driving. Um, there's always been a case someone went to jail. There's always some. We always think about the good stuff from those parties, but then like how many DUIs, how many car crashes,
Fights.
fights,
Oh my God.
fights. Almost every time there was a fight.
time, yeah.
Every time there was a fight
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Stuff breaking. I feel bad for the restaurant owners sometimes. And everyone thinks, oh, he's making tons of money. He's happy. It's so much stress trying to organize these events. So there's a whole scene behind it. There's a whole behind the scene thing. And then on top of that, damage you do to your liver, to everything else. Because like you get home 4 or 5 a.m., you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh shit, hungover. So maybe one of the other reasons why they're not as popular anymore because people can't drink this much anymore. I used to love being at those parties until I opened my own restaurant. And before I used to be like, da utra, we dance until the morning. And then when someone plays that song at my restaurant, I'm like, no, you're not. Dance until the morning, get the fuck. It's 1:30, leave.
Yeah.
And they don't want to leave. They never want to leave. Please, let me get one more drink. Let me get one more drink. This, that. And I hate dealing with drunk people, like especially people who can't drink but get drunk. So there's certain things I hate about owning a restaurant, and it's mostly dealing with drunk Russian idiots.